let's have a look at the SORA Reusable notebook. So if you follow me, you know that I love disc binding, which is one of the main things that drew me to this notebook initially. And then what sealed the deal for me is that it has whiteboard paper inside. So you can use this whiteboard marker that comes with it and then just erase it with the little nib at the end here. And you can just keep reusing the same notebook over and over again. So it has dot grid lined and blank pages, and it also has a couple of like weekly, monthly habit trackers. So it's a hybrid planner and notebook in one. Now, because of those reusable pages, they only give you about 2 months worth of planning the current month and the next month. So it is very compact, as you can see, and doesn't really weigh like much at all. If you're going to put this in your handbag, I don't think you're even going to notice that it's in there. The discs are quite small, so you could print out your own inserts on paper and then add a few more. There's a little bit more space on those rings if you wanted to, but I don't think you can purchase any whiteboard pages refills if you wanted to just add a few more. So I originally found this one on Kickstarter and it was successfully funded, hence why I have it here. But you can also now get it off their website, and it is actually a little bit cheaper on their website now, so I have the link down below. If you wanted to get a copy for yourself. Not a sponsored video or anything. Okay, so at the start we have some blank whiteboard pages. It gives you an overview of what's included, and this little sheet I quite like. It's like that, is it called vellum? That like see-through material, and you can just pull it out and then put it back in. So if you don't want these instructions in your notebook anymore, you can just take that out altogether and throw it away. We have some blank pages, as you can see. It feels just like really thin whiteboard. You know how you like touch a whiteboard? It's that same feel, but it's really thin like paper. So at the start here we have an annual overview, and they do give you this sort of tips on how to use it, how they suggest using it. I do think the boxes are quite small. I would have preferred to see 4 pages for the yearly overview. To me, I just can't really fit much in these boxes, especially since the whiteboard marker pen, they are quite a lot thicker than normal pens, so you're going to run out of room in these little boxes really quickly. So one con to start off with. Then we go into the monthly calendar. Now I do like this layout, just simple open-ended boxes. You can add the dates for whatever month that you need. It's got a nice big sidebar column here. There is no option to choose between a Sunday and a Monday week start. It only comes in this layout here, and it will only give you this layout with the 6 rows per month. So I personally prefer 5 rows, and then if I have, say, the 31st started on the Sunday, I would just start the numbering up the top here. But you do also have the option to just divide a box in half if you wanted to, up to you. So I think for a first run, this notebook is good, but there are a few little things that I would like to see other options as they, I guess, become more popular and maybe come out with some new layouts. In particular, I much prefer a horizontal spread, but they only have this vertical weekly layout. And some people I know are going to be turned off by this shared column between Saturday and Sunday. It is still quite wide enough to write in. So, I mean, some people might be big enough, some not. The planner itself is about 8.5 inches high by about 6 inches wide. And as you can see, the cover has a little bit of a lip on it. So these pages inside are slightly smaller than that. So just keep that in mind if you're deciding if this layout's going to be big enough for you or not. Starts on a Monday, which is not consistent with that monthly calendar, which starts on a Sunday. You have a little bit of note space down the bottom here. So if you wanted to, you could probably just ignore the Sunday there, go Saturday, and then maybe use Sunday all down the bottom here if you wanted to. You can do a different layout each week. So if you find that Saturday and Sunday actually is enough combined that week, that's fine. The next week it's not, or you can just erase it and create your own Sunday section down the bottom. So you get 2 weekly spreads, and there was 2 monthly spreads as well. So I don't think the ratio of monthly spreads to weekly is right. So if we are planning that far in advance, if I just go back to the sheet at the front, if I'm planning that far in advance, I probably want to see like 8 weekly spreads, for example. See how it's only got 2 and then 2? It just seems that the ratio is a little out to me. Like there's usually 4 or 5 weeks in a month. I probably want to see all of those. So that is a little bit of a con for me. I'll just go back to where we were. Pages lay flat thanks to this disc binding, which is really good. So after that vertical weekly spread, we do have this horizontal one, but it's more aimed at like health and fitness, you could just ignore all these little icons and use it as a horizontal weekly spread, which is probably what I will be doing. You could just pretend that these are little check boxes and you just color it in when you've completed the task. If you are really hung up about using a horizontal spread, this one also has equal amount. Saturday, Sunday is the same as a weekday. So you do get that bit more extra space to write on a weekend, and you do get a notes box as well. And again, they give you a little tip sheet on how to use it, or how they suggest using it. So if you combine the vertical and the horizontal, if you don't mind switching between the two, then you could end up with 4 weekly spreads, so you could use it for a whole month. They also have this habit tracker page, which I think is quite helpful. I like having a habit tracker, I always do one. You can only track one habit on these pages though, and there is quite a lot of dead space. So maybe they could have redesigned it to fit, say, like 3 habits that you're tracking per month on the same page. If you do need a bit of space to do your monthly planning, you could use this column here, because there is no extra like notes page next to the monthly calendar. There's some later in the notebook which you could move to the front if you wanted to. You can rearrange all these pages because of the disc binding. So we keep going, we've got a few habit tracker pages, and then we go into the sort of notebook section at the back. So we've got lots of blank pages, some lined. The line spacing is fairly typical. It's about 7 mil, which is pretty standard for a planner or a notebook. And then we go into the dot grid, which is a 5 mil, which again is fairly typical for a notebook. If you want to lay the pages completely back on themselves, you can do so, which I always do. It's much easier to write when it's completely flat. And as you probably saw earlier in the video when I did it, you can pull the pages out. With this whiteboard paper, it is a bit thicker though, so I'm a bit wary about pulling the pages in and out all the time. Just think it might start getting a bit damaged around the little mushroom holes if we keep doing that often. And then at the back here, I actually wrote on this about 2 months ago, and I wanted to see just how, I guess, permanent it was and how easily it rubbed off if I left it for quite a long time, because they do have a little promo video on their website where they write something and then they show someone like brushing their hand over it and it doesn't smear or smudge. So I just wanted to test that. So if I just use the little pen and start erasing, I'm holding my camera with my right hand. I'm normally right-handed, so apologies, this is a little awkward. So it's still erasing quite cleanly. When I first wrote it with this pen, I did actually go like that, and that's where that little smudge came from initially, but I just did it then. You can see that it didn't smudge, and it is erasing. Obviously, it would be much quicker if I was using my right hand, but you see what I mean? It's still quite cleanly erasing. So I am quite happy with the paper quality. I think this would be good. I'm not worried about it rubbing off really quickly or smearing. So if you did want to plan, the 2 months in advance with that calendar, I do feel confident that the pen ink would stay there until you chose to erase it. So I think the paper quality of the whiteboard paper is great. I like the size, it's portable size. You get a pen loop that comes with it too, comes with the pen as well. It's got a fine tip end like that. So again, this is going to be really awkward, but just to show you like the thickness, you can see that it's not too fat. So most whiteboard markers are a lot thicker. This one is probably one of the thinner ones that I've come across, and I believe you can buy these separately as well if you need more, because it's just the Staedtler brand. It's not SORA's only own brand or own product. It's just one that they like using, that they provide you with when you purchase the notebook. So if you do need extras, you can purchase them. So on the whole, I think it's a great concept. I like it. A few minor tweaks that I would change is different weekly layout options, make the start day on the monthly and the weekly calendars consistent, maybe make this page a bit more compact and introduce maybe like a goal planning page or a monthly planning page, just something with a bit more structure. But otherwise, I think it's a good first run, great concept, and I will definitely be trying it out. I will have a link to the blog post once I've tested it as part of my 52 planners challenge, which I'm still doing, but to be honest, I don't use a different one every week. It's probably every like second or third week that I'll try a different weekly layout. But when I do try it, I'll have the link to that to the blog post down below this video if you want to have a look. Otherwise, I'll have the link to the SORA website as well if you're interested in getting a copy for yourself. Don't forget to subscribe. I usually do one planner review video each week.